Good afternoon. Still excited about our win, and just felt like that it was one of those situations where really happy for our team and feel like that saw a lot of young guys grow up, and we talk about finishing a lot, and it's been a major emphasis in our program all off season. And then last week the game ended where the offense had the opportunity to finish, and they did that and never came off the field. And then this week the defense had their opportunity to finish, and they were the last ones on the field to win the game. And you can talk about that, but you have to go out and do it, and you have to experience it. And obviously that last drive, there was a lot of drama and tested a lot of people's blood pressure, but myself included. But the bottom line was our guys, when the final buzzer sounded, found a way to be on top. So Coach Mendenhall's got a really good football team that fought to the bitter end, and it was a great game back and forth, and they'll have a really good season, and wish them nothing but the best. But just really happy for our guys, and still, as always, a lot of mistakes, but the opportunity to learn from those after a win is a good thing. And so I just really want to commend a few guys and talk about them a little bit as you go through and have a chance to watch the film and meet as the staff and evaluate how you performed. Two areas that kind of jumped out to me. I really challenged our offensive line a week ago after our first week performance and about finishing blocks and finishing the plays off and really being the strength of our team. And they were good week one, but they weren't great. And I felt like they responded. And rushing for 243 yards and I think 237 was the net. But just being able to run the football in those conditions against a team that was really stout against the run, and that was their strength. And they knew we had to run the ball with the weather the way it was, and to be able to do that in those circumstances was really awesome. So we actually we gave the entire offensive line the honor of being the players of the game for offense, and that would be Coy Cronk, Wes Martin, Hunter Littlejohn, Simon Stepneck, Brandon Knight, Nick Linder, Delroy Baker. All those guys played on the O-line during the game, and as a group did an awesome job. And they were the reason why that Stevi Scott got all those yards rushing. And it was great that he did what he did, but he knows it as well as all of us do that the O-line was the reason why he's able to get those yards. And so he was honored with being co-Big Ten Freshman of the Week for his production and his the game that he had. But that whole group there obviously worked well together and made that happen. And just also the way we finished the half, really, as the score played out, it ended up being the difference in the game. But just really being able to finish the half with a couple big passes there and get the ball in the end zone in tough circumstances, throwing the ball, and just Peyton doing a great job. And those guys, receivers going and getting the ball was awesome. And then defensively, Raekwon Jones talked about him in the press conference and how well he played and how hard he played. And that's the thing that stuck out to me. We're still making mistakes on defense. Played much better than we did week one in the area of execution, but still not where we want to be. But the effort was awesome, and and I make such a big deal about that because that's the one thing that those guys control, and they played so hard, and he was the leader of that group. And Khalil Bryant's another one I thought really just played his tail off on special teams and just flying around. And so Raekwon Jones was our defensive player of the game, and had some critical tackle for loss, really had him on that quarterback and chased him around and harassed him. We never sacked him once, but boy, we sure harassed him, and he was thrown under duress and a lot of pressures and making him run laterally and hitting him as he was throwing and just making him not comfortable. So guys did a great job. And special teams player of the game in that area was Micah McFadden. He caused the fumble on the kickoff that set up a score, which is the huge game-changing play. It's one of the things we challenge our special teams units is to be able to do three things, and that is to be at your best when it counts the most, and we want to make sure that we create game-changing plays. And our guys are doing that. They're really excited about that production. Didn't do a great job in some other areas. They got a couple kicks blocked that has to be corrected immediately, and it will be. And then had the big penalty on a punt return. But just as a group, did some good things amidst bad conditions. Also want to recognize our scouts of the week. Those guys play a huge role in our preparation. And defensively, Owen Streeter, Madison Norris were the scout players of the week. Bowen's from LaPorte, and Madison's from Hamilton Southeastern here in Indiana. Officer Scout of the Week is Ryan Barnes from Noblesville and Luke Shianovich from Avon High School. So all 4 of those guys are Indiana kids and doing an awesome job giving us a great look each day. And then the Special Team Scout of the Week is James Miller, linebacker from Tampa, Florida, there at Armwood High School. So guys are just doing a great job of working hard, preparing us, and allowing us to be special. Just really want to continue to grow as a team, build off the things that we gain confidence from, and then create more negative plays defense. We had 9 tackles for loss, which is what we want to be in that area, get double digits and each week, and want to get more sacks and more pressures and just keep attacking on defense. So excited about that game. That one's in the books. And then now moving on to Ball State, team that really I think was impressive against Notre Dame, at Notre Dame. And Coach New's done a great job there. Know him well, respect him a ton, and does a great job. Kids play really hard. They've gotten a lot better. They struggled last year when they lost their two best players on offense, their quarterback and their tailback, that are back now and healthy, and they really were not the same without them. But with them, they're a really good football team. And, Riley Neal's the best quarterback overall in terms of passing and everything. He can run. He's athletic and big old guy. He's the best, most complete one we've played yet. Throws the ball extremely well, and got a talented group of receivers and a very good set of running backs. So James Gilbert, kid out of Indianapolis, runs extremely hard, tough. So offensive line's big and physical, like they always are for there. And we know that they've been a tough out for Indiana the last several years, and we beat them the last time we played them. It was my first year, I think my second game here. But we had a tough time putting them away. And they've had a lot of success against us in the past. So they have our full attention, and they have done a great job to be able to win their first game and then go to Notre Dame and play within a one-possession game against a very talented Notre Dame team. So that opponent coming to town defensively has improved dramatically in a year's time. Dave Elson's a DC there and know him well, and I just know a lot of their coaches and a lot of respect for them, how hard they work and the job that they do, and their kids are well coached. They play really hard. So we know how they're going to come here, and they're going to play their tails off. So we have to match that and play our best. We have to be having our best week of preparation, continue to clean things up, get better in all 3 areas, and play our best football on Saturday. Questions?
You talked about it a little bit Saturday and even before, but what did it look like specifically when you kind of sat Raekwon down and really sort of challenged him in the offseason to step up from where he'd been the last couple of seasons?
Well, at that point, there was a lot of question marks. When we first started talking, and you meet with each guy, and he was one that I knew had to rise and had to elevate his expectations for himself, how hard he worked. He's always been a great kid. He's always done everything right. He's always been a guy that knew what he was supposed to do. He had to get his body changed in terms of staying healthy. He had to get to the point. It's kind of a similar conversation I had with Chris Covington, the year before. He kind of took off in regards to, had a history of injuries and just inconsistencies, and as far as on field performance. And Raekwon was that way physically, and so just getting him right in the weight room and responding to Coach Blue and our new staff in there, and just challenging. It was a confidence thing too, kind of similar with Donovan Hale, just the confidence to be able to believe that you're the man when you take the field and run the defense and take that ownership of, hey, T. Gray's gone now. You've been sitting in his shadows for a couple seasons, and now you got to rise up and meet that challenge. And he's responded. He had a great spring, as we've said, and really gained a lot of confidence, but didn't really play well week one. And we challenged him about that, and I thought he was a much better player in week two than he was week one, and the kind of player that I saw this spring. So need him to continue to develop and grow and play with that confidence and be able to play with that. He's a very, very strong individual, and just really can finish plays because of his strength, and he's gotten quicker and faster. But I think a lot of it has to do with just confidence and knowing that we believe in you and we expect certain things from you. And I think when you feel that from your coaches and you feel that from your teammates, that there's an expectation to run the defense. There's expectation to be a playmaker. I tell our guys that in that position demands leadership and production. at that position, and that's what you have to have. And the thing that I love about that group now is, as we've said many times, how young they are and inexperienced they are, but there's a whole bunch of them. And we played several on Saturday, and they all made tackles, and they all made plays at key times, and it was on special teams or on defense. And I think the future is really bright for that group. They're just young, and just got to continue to bring them along and learn and teach. And he's kind of one of the leaders of that group of these young guys, and he's only a junior and hasn't played a ton of football here. So I'm really excited for him and encouraged by his growth, and just got to keep moving forward, keep working hard, and keep studying film and keep getting better.
In that vein, I mean, you mentioned the younger guys growing up. Do you feel like Raekwon also has kind of grown up, even though he's kind of been in the program for a couple of years?
Sure. He's not a freshman or a redshirt freshman or a sophomore, but when you haven't played, you haven't played, and so he just doesn't have the game reps to just sit there and say, hey, you got this, body of work. And I went back and rewatched our game against Ball State 2 years ago, and he was in there just a little bit, but, it might have been 4 or 5 snaps, and he changed his numbers. At first I was kind of like, who's number 40? But I remember it was Raekwon. But just didn't play a whole lot that first year, and then did not play a ton more last year, so he's kind of in that same pool. Damion Willis is really the only one that really played, and the last 2 seasons. And so really, kind of put him in the mix of all those guys that haven't played much.
You talk about young guys growing up. I mean, Stevi, for a young back, looked like he's already developed patience and vision in terms of seeing holes at the line. Talk about that a little bit. Well,
I think I learned this a long time ago, that the good Lord decides who the good running backs are, and you have a gift to know how to run, and I worked for a guy that made that exact quote to me, and I'm telling you, and that was a long time ago, and it is so true. And he used to tell me that all you got to do is this: you put your best young athletes back there and kick the ball to them on a live kickoff cover, and see who can make people miss and see who can, advance the ball and go score. And because kids have that natural talent, it's really, there's no question. You develop skills. The thing that they struggle with when they're young, when they come to college, is the physical part of playing running back in this league, and the mental part of the protections and just knowing what to do. But as far as being a running back and just what do you do with the ball in your hand, sometimes if you think too much, you're going to be ineffective. You just got to do what the good Lord gave you the skills to do. And there's no question that you got to technique this and teach that and everything. But I'm just telling you, it's kind of like even linebackers. You either got an act to get to the football or you don't. And it's hard to teach that. It's hard to create that. That's why you got to go recruit it. And so to me, you try and recruit the best players you can find that fit what you do, and then see who rises up. I challenge that group too, like, hey, who's going to rise? That was our one word for last week, and I said, hey, we got a situation in the running back position that got a couple guys down, and so who's going to step up? Who's going to be the one and to fill the void? And obviously Stevi stepped up, answered the call. But the patience and the vision and the ability to cut and just that knack to run. And he's big, he's 240 pounds, and so that helps. And he's got good speed. He's not a blazer, but he's got good speed. He pulled away on that one long run and scored. But but it's the vision and patience and knowing how. Sometimes guys are almost too, they cut too quickly. But the really good ones have that ability to kind of just feel it. He's going to have to, like every player in this league, you have a big game, so then the expectations are raised, and he's got to just keep doing it week after week after week. But that was a special performance for sure, and there's not many guys who've done that in the past, and there's a reason for that. But at the same time, I think there's no reason why he can't expect himself to be a really good football player here, and he just needs to stay humble and hungry and keep working really hard, and he's got a lot of work to do to get better, and Coach Hart has done a great job. And I commend Coach Hart for getting him ready to play. I think we all saw the growth from week 1 to week 2, and that's the coaching that comes into play, and how to handle him mentally. And I didn't sit him down and have some talk with him. I know Coach Hart is invested in all of his guys to get them ready to go, and we had. I couldn't have sat here and told him he's going to have a great night tonight. I wasn't sure who was going to step up. I knew which guys were going to get opportunities to, and then see what they do with it. But I just think that once again, it's there's a natural talent to running the football, and you got to go recruit it.
Obviously with Steve, he's a big, strong, physical guy, but how important is it going forward to maybe try to find a second guy so he doesn't have to carry it 30 times every week and keep him fresher for the second half, late part of the season?
Yeah, I think that there's, always have to have depth at every position, and we got to get more guys ready to go. I know Rod Lloyd's a guy that helped us in the spring and really kind of came into his own there, and he is coming back from being out for a few weeks, and he was back practicing today, which is a good sign for us. And Ronnie Walker, it's a guy that we've came here early, so he has a chance to learn the system and just kind of see what he can do. And obviously Mike Majette, we're going to get him more carries, and Ricky Brookins is another guy that's in the mix there. And I just think that whole group of guys there has to continue to develop and grow and get better, And I think that you can never have enough of them. And obviously we don't want one guy carrying the majority of the carries each night. Obviously he was running the ball extremely well and being very effective. So, and with all the weather conditions and the way he was protecting the football, felt very comfortable keeping him in there. And he and Mike would rotate a little bit and trying to get everybody. Craig Nelson's another guy that I expect to step up and rise up. And he's had a little bit of hamstring throughout fall camp, and it's kind of hindered him quite a bit. But he's getting healthier. And so those guys, as you look at the whole group, we got to be by committee. It's kind of like the linebacker room. We had all those tackles all spread out on Saturday night, but they all together played well. Same at running back. We may be different guys that have different roles each week, and we'll see who steps up. But bottom line is Coach Hart will have those guys ready to go, and we'll have, we got to run the football. We know that. We've said that, and that's a huge priority for us, and that's what we did.
I know we talked to a couple different coaches, including Coach Hart, about sort of the push and pull of where guys were going to play back in fall camp. Did you want Stevi at linebacker? Was there kind of a point where you said, okay, he's going to stay at running back, or were you always just kind of like, hey, wherever he performs best, that's where we're going to keep him?
Well, we did. When we recruited him, literally it went from he was on the linebacker board for a while, and then, Coach Hart was the one that recruited him. He was in his area. He's from his hometown. He's known him for a long, long time. And so I think in the back of his mind, he always wanted him as a running back. But he did start out as, hey, this guy's a guy that we weren't sure. So we just said, hey, let's offer this young man. He can play something. He's a big, physical, strong guy that has great film on both sides of the ball, playing linebacker and playing running back. And when I saw him, when I watched him on film, I thought he was a linebacker, but I'm a defensive guy, and so I think when he saw him as a running back, so, but which is good, that's a great problem to have. But, and this is another thing, too, when you talk about kids and evaluating them, when you watch high school players, who do you give the ball to? You give the ball to your best player. You put him at running back. When you're, I always, as a high school coach, you go to little leagues, and I worked with our feeder programs every place I was at, and you got the kindergarten to second grade league, and the fourth and fifth graders, and fifth, sixth graders, all that crew, and you just see the kid. The best players are playing running back and linebacker, because they toss the ball to the left, they toss the ball to the right, and they just run and go score. So, that's those guys. You want to get as many big, strong running back, linebacker guys as you can, because they help you on special teams. And so when we recruit him, we're just, hey, he's a big, old, strong guy that can run. And we'll figure out where he is. And so when we started saying, hey, he comes to fall camp, we knew we needed a big back. And, obviously Morgan's a bigger guy, but he's really the only one that I would consider that we have as a big back. And so we say, hey, let's start him at running back, and let's just see how he does. And so obviously, as it's all played out, that's where he's going to stay. But it wasn't settled for sure. Like, hey, if we get a situation, and he ends up being the guy that's going to help us at linebacker, then we'll move him to linebacker, if we need to. But, you don't ever know how things are going to play out sometimes, and you just have to, I think we just want to continue. Matter of fact, I just had this conversation with our staff after the game and talked yesterday that, hey, just another reminder about why we recruited a guy like Stevi. And just go through and find big, strong guys that have some versatility, can play multiple positions, and then you just kind of put them you get them on the bus, and then you figure out what seat to get them in. But the key is to get them on the bus first, and then we get them in the right seats once they get here.
A quarterback, was it by design to not play Michael, or was that something you just kind of felt out through the game? No, we talked about that too yesterday. We really expected to play him, to be honest with you. And then as the game the weather conditions were so bad, Peyton was doing a good job and was comfortable out there. I know he threw the one pick, which was a mistake that he shouldn't have thrown. But I thought that was just a tough situation to put him in.
So, yeah, that really was, we were actually planning on playing them, and then we just kind of got into it, and it was, really a one-possession game for a lot of the time, especially in the second half. And so it's just circumstances didn't allow us to do that.
I don't know if you saw the social media stuff after the game, but you going over to the fans, kind of knocking over the trash can and high-fiving everyone. Just what was the emotions of that moment for you? Just, seeing all the support.
Let me clarify. First of all, I don't know. Someone asked me, what were you thinking about the trash can? I said, I really wasn't thinking. I don't know why I did that. My intent was to thank the students for staying. I mean, they were awesome. We get out there to start warm-up, and they're all there. I mean, in the full group. It's just pouring down rain. Their whole section is full, and the rest of the stadium is not at that point before the game, and they're all in there. So I'm just so pleased and so appreciative for them. And then the whole game, they never left, and they cheered. And so as soon as I shook hands with Coach Mendenhall, they caught my eye that they were still there cheering away. So I ran over there to go high-five them and everything. Well, as I make it through the first round of them, then the second tier is a lot higher, so I started jumping up. Well, the trash can's right in my way, and so instead of going around it, I just kicked it and didn't really think anything of it, and so but I will say this. So I come back at 6 a.m, and I was hoping it was, and it was still turned over, and nobody had touched it. So I went out there and picked up all the trash and put it back in there, because I really felt bad. I'm like, man, somebody's got to clean that up, and I didn't think to run back to do it because I was so fired up about the game. So, but yeah, that was total just spontaneous. I love our fans. I appreciate them, and that was all about. And somebody caught it on video, and I guess the Big Ten Network did, and it just kind of became a bigger issue than it really was. But I just was appreciative of our fans. They were awesome.
I was a little worried. I mean, when you kicked it, when your foot hit it, was a little heavier than you thought, because it's probably really full of water, right?
I thought it was just going to tip over. It was real heavy because it was full and full of water, too. So, but yeah, I wasn't thinking. I just was reacting. So, but I have a little history of being a little emotional. So that's just me. Fans were awesome, though, man. That was no fun to sit through that now. Coaching is one thing, but appreciate him braving. Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to be weekly Morgan Ellison guy, but I guess they said on the broadcast that you still talk to Morgan every once in a while. Is there any update with that? And just as much as you're comfortable sharing, what's that communication like?
I mean, I meet with him each week, and that's been going really good. And he's just still suspended from team activities. So that's I don't have any further update on that part of it. I just stay with him and meet with him and help him through the process. Awesome. Thank you. Have a great day. Elio.